All right, you guys, welcome to our weekly Bible study. I know some people will be jumping on late. I've got dogs all over my feet. It's crazy. But I'm so excited to dive into this. Is like we kind of create like a new 30 days. Every 30 days, we have a maintenance group of people that have been with us forever that are recommitting to 30 days. And then we have a brand new group where we restart every 30 days, and you guys are on this as well. So I thought I would spend a couple minutes really diving into nutrition. First off, for like 5 minutes, maybe 8 at the most. And I want to bring up the topic of intermittent fasting, but also time nutrition, but breaking it down so stupid that you're like, oh, that's it? And but I also love to share that keep a food journal. Keep a journal of what's working for you, the way your body responds to certain things. Like I've shared on social media, and I have a video in here that I share all the time where I talk about so many of us are making our shake every single morning with 6 to 8 ounces of almond milk, not realizing that truly you really don't want to do that unless you want to start counting it as one of your carbs, okay? So kind of break the breakdown for you guys. And I have videos, so you don't have to memorize any of this. You will get this through the next 30 days. But you are allowed 3 ounces, or 3 times of 8 ounces of almond milk per week that's considered free. Like you don't need to count it as anything. After that point, so 3 times per week, 8 ounces each time, after that, you've got to start counting as a carb. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to drink well, I do want to drink my wine, but I don't want to I'd rather it not be almond milk, right? So, so just be aware of that. The others too, I love to say, and I started journaling and working with nutritionists, really learned. And some people always take this as me saying it's not healthy. I'm never saying that almond milk and almonds and oatmeal are not healthy. But if you were trying to reduce the bloat and you're trying to reduce the lower aspect of your abs, it really will make a significant difference. But keep a journal. There is a very small percentage of people that are not affected, but most people are for general. So, hey, Miss Ashley. So I wanted to kind of share that. I will have a video based off that as well that really walks you through it so you don't have to memorize that. But feel free to take notes and, type in the comment area any questions you guys might have. So I want to talk a little bit about intermittent fasting. I get asked a lot, how long I've been doing it, what does it look like? And I want to share with you guys, here is the thing is so many people have a different story with intermittent fasting. Some people eat once a day. And I think that for me personally, that's crazy. I would die. And other people don't eat their first meal till 11 and they're done at 6 and I would die. But that's okay. That's why you need to listen to your body. And so I want to share the dumb fact about it. The aspect of intermittent fasting is to be like a caveman in the aspect that you are eating only when you're active. Okay? You're not just eating on the couch at night. You're not eating before you're hungry. You're listening to your body. I want to tell you, when I first started doing this, it took time. I didn't automatically overnight just switch to eating this way. It took time. And it took me slowly taking it up. So what I want to share with you guys is my goal every single day. That's not for everybody, but I also think it's really important that each of you pay attention to this. Lucas, no, stop it. Tell me that's not a scorpion. No, it's not. Okay. So what is he like? What is he like getting all, okay. Whew. Okay, he's acting like someone was biting him. So the goal behind intermittent fasting is to eat in a shorter period of time when you're active. My active will look different than your active. My active will be different for every single one of you guys. So I think, Thor, what? Oh my, this is I will only ever have one dog. Oh my God, he's knocking down the lamp. So with that being said, some of you guys are gonna not be active when I share, okay? I have a lot of nurses and they go, oh my God, I don't know if I should eat at night. I don't care if you're eating at night. When are you your most active? That's all that matters. And I actually read Julia Michaels' book, I Will Never Forget. I will never forget. If anybody tells you not to eat after 7 p.m., they're full of crap, okay? It's not the 7 p.m., it's when are you eating within your most active, okay? So some of you guys eat really late at night. It doesn't matter. When did you start eating? When are you the most active? So that whole rule, don't eat after 7 p.m., well, it kind of depends on you, okay? So I want to share my time frame of eating is not always perfect. My goal is to have my breakfast at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. We eat dinner super early, like legit, you guys, I can eat dinner at 4:30. So we like literally 4:30, 5:30, we're eating dinner. I'm done. I don't eat after that. I eat within an 8 to 9 hour window. This is not something that happened like that. It went from a 16-hour window to a 12-hour, to 11-hour, to a 10-hour, and I just slowly worked on making it better. But you guys, this morning I woke up, I was hungry. I had my shake at 8 a.m. Who cares? But I will shut it off within my most active period. So realistically, don't overcomplicate it. Intermittent fasting can be so many different things, but if you think about it, your body works more effectively when you are active. It's going to burn it quicker when you're active. This totally makes sense, right, you guys? And I think that we're always looking for that, oh my God, this is the rule. It isn't the rule unless it's your life, right? And I hate people, I hate the word hate, but I dislike when people say this works and this is it. No, it's not. It's not. You've got to listen to your body. I listen to my body, and that's why in the shred plan, you're allowed an extra protein and an extra veggie if you need it. But most people add in more fruit or a carb. They don't know what to add back in. And so we actually teach you what. I want to talk a little bit about time nutrition and then answer some of your guys' questions and then dive into the Bible study. Time nutrition, keep it simple. When my husband started this, he was like, oh my God, those containers, you've got to be kidding me. And I said, no, we're going to take the containers away. I know what the portion looks like. This is my goal, for you guys to no longer have to use the containers, except for maybe the ones that you need to use. My goal is for you to go to a restaurant and go, that looks like one yellow. That looks like one red. Goal is to get off them as quickly as possible, but use them as a tool as you need. So with my husband, and this is what I want to answer for all of you guys who are asking this question, I really had to dumb it down hard. And I said, all right, babe, you get 4 proteins a day and you get 4 veggies a day. Let's start there. And then we're going to put the good fat in the afternoon, so it helps with your cravings, so that you don't have cravings in the evening. We started that simple, and I have a video that I share on this in the group that I will share as well. Protein and veggie with every single meal. Have your good fat where you struggle with cravings. Good fat is going to shrink belly fat, help you curb your cravings. Put it where you need it. If you struggle in the morning, which most people don't, have it there. If you struggle in the evening, put it in the evening. I put mine either at lunch on purpose, because my witching hour is 3 to 4 o'clock. At 3 to 4 o'clock, I want to I'm like looking in Easter baskets from last year, looking for jelly beans. I'm like, is there any stale jelly beans? Like, I'm so bad. So I recognize that my struggle is in the late afternoon. So I usually put my good fat in the afternoon. Not always, okay? It's going to be different each day, right? Then the other thing is with fruit, and don't be perfect. Try to get your fruit in before 4 p.m., okay? Before 4 p.m. so that way it doesn't turn into glucose, which turns into sugar, okay? And stays on your body. That's it. Your carb, put it in where you're the most active, okay? My carb always goes in during the day. I don't usually have it at night, unless like if I'm doing body beast legs and I need to have some serious recovery that night. If you put your carb in during the day, your body's going to burn it so much quicker. You guys, this becomes so easy over time. You're like, all right, well, and you know what? There's times you'll see I'll have a carb at night and you'll be like, oh, Rhonda screwed up. It's okay. You don't have to be perfect on this plan. There's times I'm like, crap, I didn't get my carb in. I'm going to have it at night. It's okay. That's the blessing behind the shred plan, is it really is a lifestyle that allows you to live, but you have guidelines to follow to get you right back on. So does anybody have any questions on that? As basically never skip your protein and veggies and good fat. Get your carb in during the day. Fruit, not after 4 p.m. If you have fruit after 4 p.m., are you going to live? Yes, you're going to live. It's okay, right? But I will do the protein peanut butter a lot of times in the evening with celery, and it's amazing. So instead of strawberries or something, okay? So just zone into the foods on the shred plan. Ashley says, I feel like everything is affecting me right now. I'm struggling a lot with some fascial issues of the bottom of the foot. Oh, no way. that are staying away from snacks. Oh my God, so is that kind of like, I'm sorry, Ashley, is that kind of like gout? I don't know. Are you affected? No, I don't actually know. My husband gets plantar fasciitis. Is that what you're talking about? He gets that, and if any of you guys get that, you put a water bottle in your freezer, roll the bottom of your foot, and never get out of bed without putting your shoes on first. I've helped with marathons, and people run triathlons, and it's the first thing they do. They wake up, you put your shoes on. Your arch falls one time, you're screwed. So just be aware of that. That was actually really, really helpful to a lot of you guys in the past. Breakfast means breaking your fast after sleeping. Yeah, totally, absolutely. Right? Ashley, let's see. Lynette says, that's my life when I watch my grandbabies, right? Oh my God, all the dogs, right? Is that what you're talking about, Lynette? I don't know. Ashley says, this is still a struggle for me, the fruit and the carbs. Yeah, keep them simple. I think the fruit and the carbs, so here's the thing with the 21-day fix. You guys have containers as well. So what if you don't get it all in? Just don't skip it. I think so for instance, I'm gonna give a really stupid example. Obviously lunch meat is not on the shred plan, okay? But Boar's Head lunch meat at the deli, low sodium, is the best that you can get. It's gluten-free. We know that 6 slices of lunch meat is a red. So what if you had 3 slices? You know what I mean? So same thing with your carb and your fruit. So we know around 5 to 6 strawberries is a purple. So what if you had 3? Right? So just be aware, just not skipping, and just kind of, and for me, if I'm struggling with fruit, you'll see me in certain seasons, you'll know I struggle with fruit. And right now I'm not, but in the summer, sometimes I do, which sounds so weird. I will end up blending a lot more in my shake that time. I struggle more with veggies, so I usually blend a veggie in my shake. So just be aware of it, just don't skip, and be conscious of it, and just don't be perfect, but allow yourself some grace within that. Don, let's see, I was working out barefoot, and I think, oh yeah, maybe you definitely not working out barefoot. I know they say that it's one of the best things to do, but maybe for you, and definitely not. Donna says, don't work out barefoot. Yeah, get new shoes. Yeah, and make sure you guys have shoes that are flexible. So you have the flexible shoes that actually that move with you. So when I taught Group X classes, probably one of the worst things, and I would literally get on every single person, is when you use an all-terrain or a running shoe to do a lot of these turns and spins and different things, your knee and your ankles cannot move with it. So getting more of a shoe that has the flexibility within it, so that way it protects your knees, protects your feet, and then your foot's not being so planted when you go to do a turn or a hop or something, right? So just be aware of that. Definitely, I don't tend to have issues as much, but I know that if you do tend to be that person and you're injury prone, make sure you're aware of that. Every morning with my Energize, I have 2 to 3 pure cranberry juice with, oh, you do, I love that. Perry's, and add some fruit in my Shakeology. Seems to work so fast. Yeah, so fruit, in the morning, you guys, before your workout or during the day, as long as it's berries, it's going to burn really quick. It's mainly made of water. It's got a lot of fiber. It's going to burn very quickly. There's a specific brand you recommend for shoes. I would love for any of you guys to share in the comment area ones that you recommend. So I have one that I love. I honestly think that they're so overpriced, it's ridiculous. I can post in the group. They're really, really flexible. They're $150. It's stupid. But I only use them for the workouts that are like Insanity Max 30, the ones where I just need, they're the Barefoot brand. Brooks are really, really good. Just make sure that Brooks are not running Brooks. So just make sure you don't get running shoes. So Ultra, I know Nike has some great ones, and you can actually Google, Ashley, where you can look up for jumps in for twists and turns and that kind of thing. What's the best Nike shoe? What's the best Brooks shoe? And you'll have lots of brands that will show up, which will be really, really great. New Balance is awesome. They have great ones. So does anybody have any questions on that? I wanted to spend a little bit of time really diving into the nutrition part of that. So if you guys are just jumping on now, make sure and watch the beginning of this. Hey, Lynn, so good to see you. Jean, Karen, Heather, all you guys. So I'm going to dive into the Bible study, and I feel like I've got so much to share. You guys keep sharing shoes. Any shoes that you guys like, definitely share them for people will be great. So I have to be 100% honest. I am on chapter 10 in the book, okay? And I'm highlighting full. And I also really love listening to the Audible as well. And I was telling Donna before we jumped on, I just want to be super upfront. The first, 7 or 8 chapters of this book have been really hard for me. Really hard for me, but so good for me. In the aspect that, here's how it's been good for me. Oh my gosh, I'm normal. I'm normal, I'm not crazy. Oh God, so, wow, she thinks like me. And I listen, I go, oh, okay, I'm not crazy like everybody says I am. Like I literally am like, oh my gosh. And I was listening to it driving down the street yesterday as I was taking a little nail break and a little makeup shopping break. And I was like, listening to some of the conversations these women were having on chapter, what was this? So I don't know where you guys are at the book, and if you don't have it yet, don't even worry. Chapter 7 and 8, that these women were sharing these stories of how they feel about their men, or how they feel about other women, or how they felt about in life in general, about their insecurities. And I went, now some of them were pretty dramatic, but some of them I was like, okay, like I'm not crazy. But I love that I'm aware of them now after listening to this, and I can hand them over to God. And so I encourage all of you guys, if you're not there yet, you're on the Audible, listen. I know I'm all over the place here. Let's see. I always text myself. Is that ridiculous? Listen to chapter 9. The prayer that Beth Moore does in chapter 9 at the end, it's a good 10 to 12 minutes long. I honestly, seriously think it is the most powerful prayer that you will ever hear. And I was listening to her today. I was just like, oh my gosh, I need to record this. It is so profound and gives you just so much strength as God like puts his cloth over you, right? And just protects you. So as you're going through this, you realize you're normal. You're not weird, that God made you this way, but we need him to find that confidence. I want to share with you guys, and I hope that you're doing the same, or I hope that you are feeling the same. I have, since last week, since I saw you guys, I have shared with over half a dozen women the visual of the roots in the tree and the confidence, because it has just been this huge thing for me, where they were talking about pride, ego, control is the root of the tree of insecurity. The leaves are insecurity. So as like all my life, I've just never looked at it that way, like control, perfectionism, ego, pride is in the dirt. And then up the trunk, you have the leaves that say insecurity, and it all is rooted from those things. And I just think, wow, people need to hear that. You guys, like I have so many areas of my life I want to control, and I have so many areas of my life that I want to be perfectionist in. I'm like, oh my God, that's a sin. I need to hand that over. Because you know what's happening when you're trying to control or you're trying to be a perfectionist, you're not leaning on him. You're leaning on your own understanding. You're trying to control your situation, and yet you haven't gone to God and say, hey, God, why don't you take control of this wheel? That's why it's the root of insecurity. Okay? He will always lead you. So I want to read a little bit on it's actually on page 153. I'm just going to read this one thing. I just highlighted, says, she is clothed with strength and dignity. Doesn't that just give you so much hope and just like, oh my gosh, we are no matter what clothed. So on page 155, the middle of the page, I literally highlighted every part of this. And so many women are messaging me today, and they're just like, I needed to hear this. So I wanted to read this out loud to you guys. It says, I have come to a place where I'm willing to transcend with my insecurities, but I find great relief that human eyes have to see it through the filter, the clothes of my God-given strength and dignity. I don't have to stand before you or anybody else in total emotional nakedness. I have a spiritual covering that gives me the courage to expose my most personal self. That's the one thing that makes me disclosure. This book requires bearable for me. When you and I are triggered to expose the most valuable broken parts of our lives through rush of insecurity, we can train ourselves to immediately recite this truth to our souls. It's okay. It's completely clothed. And oddly, that very thought all by itself begins healing because you know it's clothed. We are not nearly as likely to react with the same level of insecurity when we remember how well covered we are by God. I so hope that this makes sense to you because it resonates so strongly with me as she cries. And she says, with strength, I want to read a little bit further because I really like this. With strength, Proverbs 31:25 tells us that women of valor is clothed by two specific articles that become the perfect pair. The first is strength, and it has a tremendous bearing on our journey. Simply put, nothing makes a woman feel weaker than insecurity. When a wave of it hits us, don't we despise ourselves for not being able to handle the triggers better? Even if we didn't give our weakness away to a person near us, aren't we still painfully aware that insecurity got to us again? Doesn't it have the most uncanny way of making us feel whipped? Surely somebody else has said it to herself the same thing I have. I know better than this. I know the situation doesn't have the power or defense in my demising me. Why on earth do I let it? Because it makes me feel weak and a little defend and a blast in it. I'm not. What would happen if in the moment you felt hit by the miserable wave, you remind yourself empathetically that you are a God-clothed woman of valor, and you have the privilege to wear divine strength with a garment. Let's not kid ourselves here. You and I are women. Nobody knows better than we do that what wear dramatic influences how we feel. When scripture tells us to put off your old self and to put on the new self, it's inviting us to think in terms of taking off and putting on clothing. Ephesians 4:22-24. We are all probably familiar with the prospect of standing in front of the clothes, mold over what to wear, and then changing 2 or 3 times. Okay, and I want to go to the next one is dignity. So on page 157, it's dignity. Scripture doesn't say a woman of valor is clothed with strength or masculinity. It doesn't say she is clothed with strength and capability. It doesn't say she is clothed with strength and no humility. It says she is clothed with strength and dignity. This is the perfect time to point out that the woman of valor painted in Proverbs 31 happens to be a really terrific wife. The word translated wife is most versions of Proverbs 31:10 or the New it says, in that word that also simply means woman. The word could refer to one who is simply as easy as one who has a human. In the context of Proverbs 31:10-31, the woman was married and therefore a translation as wife. Instead of woman, working well. It tells you why I'm making an issue out of all of this. So I want to share with you guys, you are clothed with strength and dignity. There is nothing else. Don't let anybody say different of you. I know throughout every single 24 hours of our day, we have people just telling us differently. We have society just telling us differently. But you are clothed with his strength and his dignity. And you guys, that is enough. Why do we seek validation in things that don't provide us that strength and dignity, right? And it gives me so much peace when I read this and I kind of go, oh my gosh, I am clothed in strength and dignity. Thor, get over here, dude. Thor, come. Sorry, really quick. Thor, come on. You're going to knock over my lamp. And I just sit there and I think, you guys, that's so powerful. If we read this and we understand this, that no matter what you're going through. So I was talking about just a minute before I got on here, working really closely with a few individuals, and they were just talking about that they're in such a hard season of their life right now. Can I share with you guys, every single one of us have a season we're in right now. Every single one of us. Don't for one second think that you're alone. But the thing that separates you from the next woman is you know that you are clothed in strength and dignity, you guys. That is so powerful. Nothing can stand in your way with those two things. And when we lean onto this and his word, and we go in and we show up each day, every single day, you have an opportunity to put that cloth back on, right? Say, all right, God, yesterday was tough, but today you're reminding me to hand it over to you again. Okay. So I wanted to share that. I have so many things I want to share. I just feel like this book is just so real and so raw, and it really just hits me in some ways where I'm like, oh my gosh, we're all just a hot mess. We're all just a hot mess, but yet we are just always promised that he is there, that he is our armor. He is our confidence. It's not going to come from controlling your situation that you're in right now. It's not going to come from trying to be perfect at whatever you want to be perfect at. Maybe you just started coaching, or maybe you just became a great challenger, or maybe you're trying to be the perfect wife, or whatever. Stop trying to be perfect. Put that cloth over you and let him lead you. And stop trying to lead yourself. Okay? So I want to share that. Does anybody have anything they want to share about maybe something from the book, or even just something from last week? Anything in general, feel free to unmute your line. Donna, yes. Donna, heck yeah, I love hearing from you.
Well, I was reading 100 Days to Brave today, because I read it every day, and it talked about change. And so it said that our lives are always changing. Like, remember how we're changing the seasons? It's fall now, and it says we're never shocked by when seasons change. For instance, when we go from summer to fall, we see advertisements that say, buy boots, buy a coat, right? But then we aren't prepared for change. Even though you know change is coming in your life, you'll stand back and you'll just absorb it and let it happen. And then when that happens, you're kind of caught off guard because you're not prepared. So it actually said in Andy Downs' book, it said, God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And it says, you need to know that things are always changing. Like, for instance, at 9 o'clock today, we started this call, and we were different than we were at 9 o'clock. Things are constantly changing. We're, 31 minutes older than we were. So we have to recognize where things are always changing. So how do you prepare for change? Spend time in God's word. Spend time talking to him. He's the unchangeable one. Trust him, keep your eyes on him, and walk out the path. Let the seasons change and let your heart change with them. And then when I was reading, it totally correlated to the Beth Moore book. So it said, a history of unwelcome change can be a breeding ground for insecurity. This is page 79, because it invites you to become addicted to dread. And I don't say addicted to dread, I say addicted to drama. Because, like, we get addicted to drama because it's unwelcome, and we're just like, oh, and we get all negative about it, right? So you have to learn to live life with constant expectation that something bad is going to happen to you. So if you don't stop yourself, you won't rest until you've proved yourself true. It's a miserable track of self-inflicting insecurity. This is page 80. You can cheat yourself of every enjoyable moment in this terrific season because you're so worried about things changing all the time and the dread that you don't even notice the good that's coming. So it says, when we become physiologically dependent upon a crisis, it actually becomes our life motivator of drama. And if we don't have a present crisis, we will create one.
I love that. What chapter is that, Donna?
It's page 79 and page 80. So it says, God uses change to change us. Philippians 1, verse 6. God is thoroughly committed to finishing the masterpiece he started in us. That process means one major thing, change. And then, he who has begun a good work in you shall get complete to the day of Jesus Christ. Philippians 1, verse 6. James 1, 16 through 18. Don't be misled, my dear brothers and sisters. Whatever is good and perfect comes down to us from God our Father, who creates all the lights in the heavens. He never changes or casts a shifting shadow. He chooses to give birth to us by giving us his true word, and we, out of all creations, become his prized possession. Whatever you value, that's what a prize is. And we're God's prized possession. We're written on the palm of his hands. Psalms 139, we're fearfully and wonderfully made. So that's how we have to think about things. I mean, so it totally correlated about change.
Oh my God, I love that book. Like I literally, you guys, that was the book I was telling Dawn, I read it a year ago and it changed my life. That book like literally changed my life, 100 Days to Brave. It's so, so good. I'm going to reread those chapters. It really, I'm curious. I'd love to have every single person type in the comment area of an area of their life that's changed, that's hard for you, and that you're going to hand over to God. So type it in, what it is. So I'm going to give some examples of mine. Okay. So when I lived in Minnesota, oh, y'all, I dreaded the winter. I became just like, it just, but I'm so thankful for this business and the accountability because it made me show up. And otherwise, I don't know that I would have got out of bed each day. And so I'm so thankful. And so like, I was thinking about when you were talking, Dawn, about how we dread things. I dreaded winter there. Same thing with Arizona. I dread summer. I'm like, oh God, it's going to be 115. Instead, what is the good that I can see out of it? You know what I mean? And the connection that I can build through that fear of failure and unacceptance. Lynette, I love that. That's always been my biggest one. Like just, I want to belong. I just want to find my place where I belong. And I feel like I found that. And it's taken me like 44 years almost. Yeah. Surrendering to his plan, right? Oh, Heather, that's so great. Continue to trust. I definitely need to do more of that. Surrender to his plan because his plan is perfect. You guys are all in a season where you're dreading the change like Donna was talking about. Hand that over and trust his plan. And I loved, Donna, how you shared when you're reading that, how she wrote, we all know it's like boot and hat season coming, at least for you guys. Me, it's finally like, you know, maybe I can put some jeans on maybe and a tank top. But it's funny, like we all know it's coming. Why are we dreading it? We all know that it's there. Like summer, like I know it's going to be 115. Like hand that over. Like mine's going to be the same as Heather. Heather, surrender his plan, continue to trust him. I just, in the season that I'm in right now, I just need to continue to trust. I've got, you know, almost 2 teenage daughters, and that puts a whole another mix of my life as my husband's sitting down with my oldest daughter last night and just trying to talk about why she's acting the way she is. And then he's like, oh, you know, it's just such a season for sure. Donna said, dread endorses insecurity. Yes, it causes drama, and then we start to create drama. Love that. My job is possibly changing. Yeah, so the fear of that, Donna, but going, you know, God, I trust that your plan is so much bigger and better than mine, right? Perfect love cast out all fear. Lynette says, yes, I struggle with where and what my purpose is. Oh, Lynette, one of the most impactful books that I've ever read, and I've read it 3 times, is The Purpose-Driven Life. And it took me 3 times to read it, where the 3rd time I was like, oh my gosh, I know my purpose. And it's such a powerful book. If you haven't read it by Rick Warren, it's so good. It is so good on your purpose here on earth. It's so amazing. Let's say letting go and letting God, right? I try so hard to be in control of things, meeting my husband to choose. Yeah, right? Like I try to control my husband, my kids, my life, my hair color not falling out, right? Because I gotta keep it in the dark in it. You're just kidding. You know what I mean? I'm like, there's always something. I'm like, oh, you know, we're trying to control everything, but that control, what I think is so great about this book is it lets me go, oh my gosh, this control, this dread that Donna's talking about is all gonna lead into insecurity. And when it's almost like, you guys, last week we were talking about this and this hit me like a ton of bricks. And it was so exciting that we all have an insecurity, right? And I love that she's talking about men's insecurity on this book. I'm really, really loving that because I literally sent my husband a text this morning after reading the men's insecurity, listening to it. And I was like, oh, I'm just so thankful for everything you do because theirs is so different than ours. You know what I mean? And I think that it's important to know men versus women are insecurities because they're not the same, right? But what I want to say that was just such a breath of fresh air last week, you guys, is it's almost like, here's your meal plan. Here's what it's going to look like. Okay, here's where you want to get to. This is a horrible description, but I'm going to try it. Okay, but in order to get there, how do you get to that meal plan? How do you get the food on your table? Well, you jump in your car, you go to the grocery store, you have your list, you have all these things that get you to a certain location. Your insecurity is no different. I think when we recognize the root of the insecurity, and this book really is so great at teaching you this, then you can actually work on the insecurity. And you guys, it excites me because I'm like, I'm insecure, I don't know why. And then I'm like, well, I don't know, I got lots of areas I'm insecure about. Like, what do I do about it? You know, so it depends on the day, depends on the time of month, depends on when you catch me. I'm a woman, right? But it really makes you kind of go, all right, when I realize the roots of it, I can recognize it, hand it over to him before it starts affecting, giving me fear, right? And affecting my actual every aspect of my life, right? We're always gonna have seasons of insecurity, and just recognizing that root, you guys, I seriously encourage all of you guys to at least get the Audible on this. I love the Audible. It's a tough book, but it's good because it teaches you how to get to that end game of why is this being created for me, right? It gives me so much happiness to know that there is a reason for it, that it's not just there. I shared really bold and loud this week on Instagram and went live, and I talked about like my biggest insecurity outside of my family is just feeling like I've never belonged. I've never belonged. I'm different. I'm loud. I'm quirky. I'm going to trip. Like, I'm literally going to spread my legs when I'm wearing a dress and my legs should be crossed. Like, I'm really weird and I'm different. And yet people don't portray me to be that way. And I feel like for the first time in my entire life, I belong somewhere with you guys. And it's such a great feeling that I never have to buttercup it, or, you know, all of us have felt like we've walked in a room and we didn't belong. And I know it all roots from these roots of our insecurity, because you do belong. Okay. So anybody else want to share anything? I could go on forever. It's just been really growing my soul in a different area, this book. And I really do enjoy learning why I feel this way, but also having the tools and going back to scripture. Karen says good right from the root. Insecurity of not being good enough and dreading winter too, right? Yeah, like I literally, when I lived in Minnesota, I thought I was going to die. That's actually why I competed 2 times in bikini competitions when I lived there. I did it on purpose, and I actually shared that pretty bold on social media then. It's been a long time. It's been 5 years. So, but I did it on purpose. So I had to show up, because if I paid for it and I set a date to it, I had to walk on stage. It's the only reason I did it, to get through that winter. And I didn't fall and trip. Let's see. Lynn says, it is tough. It makes me face my realities, right? And it's scary. So, Lynn, I don't know if you're listening to the Audible or if you are reading the book. Either way, chapter 9. You guys, chapter 9, the end of chapter 9 is worth every penny. I literally was almost in tears hearing her. She prayed for 10 minutes with us, and it was powerful. Every single word she prayed, I was like, oh my gosh, she's speaking to me. It was amazing. It was amazing. And it was that moment of, I've got this, right? And it's scary. Growth is scary. Do you know, I want to share something really, really quick, and anybody feel free to unmute their line. Otherwise, I'll just keep talking. I don't remember what Bible study is that we did, but I obviously, have a lot of coaches on my team. We talk about growth and being challenged, and even being in a challenge group. You guys sharing your before photos, like that's super scary. But look, you guys did it and you didn't die. And if you haven't did it, I'm coming after you, right? But I want to say that God presents these things to you. And I think my biggest misconception as a new Christian, not that I'm like this seasoned Christian or anything, But I think as a new walk with Christ years ago, I thought, well, if I believe in him and I just surrender, it's all going to come to me. No, it's not. It's not going to come to you. He's going to present it. You have to move. You have to challenge yourself. You have to make it happen. And the only person that's going to do that is you. He's going to present it. Are you going to move? It's like the Mel Robbins 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Move. Don't just listen. Move. He's given it to you guys. You have to act on it. And I remember as a new Christian, I'd be like, oh, he's going to take care of it. No, Rhonda, he's not going to take care of it because I'm not moving. So make sure and move with intention through Christ. Okay? All right. Yes, please talk, Ashley. I love when you talk.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. So there was a couple things that came through my head. I have such a crazy job that's always plan B, and the schedule is forever changing. And so to continuously relinquish control and know that God is providing these opportunities for me and that will all iron out is always a challenge. And what you just said there at the end too, there's like this, I am fortunate enough to have been raised in a family where, you know, having a strong faith was kind of, you know, ingrained in me at a young age. And I'm so thankful for that, especially as an adult and a mom and all of this later in life, because I rely on that so much, especially when it's always this, you know, jumble of a schedule. And so this week I had to be literally in like 3 states within 5 days. And it was crazy and it made no sense. And I always jump between having faith that God is in control and he's going to provide exactly the way it needs to work out with free will. And that's kind of what you just said. Like, you still have to continue to give the effort that you need to make something happen, but at the same time, trust that God's got the plan, right? So it's such a jumble of both of those thoughts. So I wanted just to share that, you know, it worked out, but it made no sense. I mean, even the day that I was supposed to travel, I was supposed to get on an airplane to go to New Orleans to work. And that afternoon, I got a call back from another job that was going to be in Wilmington later in the week. And the schedule changed again. And so now instead of flying, I need to cancel my flight and get in a car and drive. And I'll spare you all the other details. But it all worked out. And, you know, it was because I was able to stop and go, I'm only in control of as much as I'm in control of. I gave every bit of free will and effort that I can to make this work perfectly for my family and for me to be able to make money and provide. God's got the rest, and I know that it'll work out, you know, and if it doesn't, it's not supposed to. Like, that's always the crazy part too, right? So anyway, that was that. But the other thing I wanted to share was, you know, all these fears, all these insecurities that you guys have been sharing over here. I mean, they're all so real. And oh my goodness, we have different seasons of life where we go through ups and downs of different things. When I first started and joined in with this group of amazing women, one of the biggest issues for me was a body image struggle. And I fought it on a daily basis. And I was in such a dark place. And I can happily say now that that's such a far memory, and it's transformed my world to be able to relinquish that. But most of this, I want you to remember, goes back to the fear of you actually having the insecurity of what other people are thinking. This is not really, I mean, the fear of, like you guys said, the winter, dreading winter and that kind of thing, that's different. But everything else really, you being perceived in the world, and you having to remember that you're actually perceived perfectly in God's eyes. And that's the main thing that you need to remember, not what other people think of you. And I think the reason why this support system is so special is simply because that's what it's trying to make you guys focus on, all of us, right? Is what God thinks of us, and how we find strength and confidence within ourselves, not what other people think of us, right? We have to be able to drop that on a regular basis. I shared with my challenge group about 2 weeks ago, I think, how important it is to remember that we're in control of all of our thoughts. And even saying something like, I dread winter, I hate it, I'm going to hate winter. Guess what? You're going to hate winter again. Like, your words are so powerful. And one of the things that I looked up was talking about how you should remove verbiage. literally it changes the game. Some of the things it said to remove was I want, I should, I can't, I'm trying, I don't know. And add in words like I choose, I can, I enjoy, I create, I love, I rock. You know, it's such a simple thing to do on a regular basis, but that is an absolute game changer in your thought process on a daily basis, which then, you know, changes the outcome down the road. So what comes out of your mouth comes into your life. Remember that. It's such a profound thing. But if you're saying those things, then that's what your life is going to look like. Choose your words wisely. And then it says, you know, set intentions for your day. I'm going to only eat healthy food today. Intend to enjoy paying your bills, right? I intend to sit up straight all day long. Like, they're so simple. But if you say, I hate it, then you're going to hate it. Like, it's so silly. And sometimes you got to fight your way through that, right? Because these are all real emotions and real feelings. But if you can really start training your brain to eliminate the things that create that toxic thought process and switch it over, it can be a game changer. So, and the last little statement that I'll end with is, it's impossible to hold on to the past or negative thoughts and words and seize the day today at the same time. You can't do both. So you got to be able to figure that out. This is all a learning curve and a training process as we go through different seasons of life. But you guys, I promise you, it can change if you really, really strive for it. So.
Oh my God, Ashley, you gave me goosebumps when you were talking about all of this, because it's so much truth. Thank you so much for sharing. I read a quote once super similar to what you said, and I think like we need to like hear this. The words that you speak become your life. You guys, the words that you speak become your life. They are your reality. So you have to start changing the way that you speak to yourself and handing it over to him. Lynn says what you said about moving, that speaks to you on many levels. And that is what God keeps telling you to do, is to move, right? I think it's so easy to just sit back and listen, collect the tools, be there, be working on our hearts, but actually moving and making it become our life through Christ and sharing that. Like, you guys, my goal every single day when people ask me what I do, I never hold back on the fact that I run Bible studies through my business. It's one of the top things that I share. And that I share my vision that I want to bring as many people to Christ that I can. And I have to be vulnerable. I have to move. I have to speak. I have to do those things. And if you guys struggle with what other people think, the best book, so you worry always about what others think. I just want to share this because it is a life-changing book. My coach Jade recommended it when I was going through a really dark season of just rebuilding my team and being bold about it, but I was scared because I was like, I'm different. Like, I am just different, but people portray that I'm not. Oh, she's just Barbie. I'm like, oh, no, right? And so the book Uninvited, we've done it before as a Bible study. You guys, if you struggle with what other people think, don't read any other book. And I know we always talk about books. In your season where you're at right now, you need to read a book for your insecurity. Whatever it is that you are struggling with in particular, make sure that we'll offer lots of options for you. Don't feel overwhelmed with the options we offer, but pick the book that's going to help you in your season right now. And as I was going through that season of just really caring, and I love, Ashley, you shared this, like, realistically, you guys think about it. The only reason you care is because of what other people think. So when I first became a coach and I really started sharing my journey, do you know what I did? And this is what I do every single day, you guys. When I go live and I don't even know like half the time what to say, and then I start crying or whatever, do you know what I do? And I don't know, I've been trained at a very young age. I did a lot of public speaking growing up, and I think my mom would always make a joke, just pretend everybody's naked in the stand, right? Kind of a funny little thing. She's like, just pretend they're naked, or pretend they're not there, and you're speaking to Rhonda. So what I do is I actually just don't speak to anybody. I speak to the old Rhonda. I speak to the Rhonda that didn't think she could do this. I speak to the Rhonda that couldn't get out of bed. I speak to the Rhonda that still struggles with the judgment from other people and my insecurity with that. I speak to that one person, and her name is Rhonda. And I speak to that one person loud and bold, because that's not the same Rhonda. And so sometimes when we get overwhelmed with whatever it is that we're doing, we're worried about other people. I share this with my team, but we're making it about us and not about others, you know? And so I don't know about you guys, but at the end of the day, when I go to bed at night, they don't lay down with me. They're not in my soul. I have to live, and I need to find that happy place. And that means that I am going to give up all those insecurities with control, what people think, pride, ego, perfectionism, all those things, that I can work on that confidence, and I can be confident and walk with him through every season of my life. And I love what you shared, Ashley, on affirmation. Say it out loud. You guys, say it out loud. Like, it's so funny when people say, like, it's, oh my God, it's so hot here. I'm like, I don't know, it's pretty awesome. I love it. I'm like, I get to wear flip-flops year round. So I find the positive in it. I could sit there and be like, oh my gosh, you know, I might smell like, you know, crazy, but like, I could look at the negative at every part of it. I'm like, yeah, I get to wear flip-flops year round. It's pretty awesome. Right? So find the positive in all things. Change the way you speak to yourself. Find the right personal development for your season that you're in right now. And I just want to thank all of you guys for sharing. None of this would be possible without you guys, and I could not do this alone. And it just feels so great that we have a tribe of women that are doing this. We're doing this together, right? Let's see. I want to make sure I got everybody's. And then I'll end in prayer. Donna says, life and death and the power of the tongue really is life or death when you speak to yourself. And I think a lot of women in general struggle with this. And you guys, it starts right now. It starts right now with a decision, saying it out loud. Do you know why I make you, like I'm your mom. I tell you to go into groups, and I tell you to share. I tell you to write yes or no. Do you know why? It's affirmation that you are like, yes, because I know if you write it and you share it with another individual, it will become truth. There's no different with your words. It will become truth. You are control of so much more than you think you think. A positive thoughts bring positive things. Yeah. So I love you guys. Let's go ahead and end in prayer, and let's like make your prayer. Say it out loud in the group. Say it out loud on social media. Say it out loud to somebody, you know, anybody. Say it out loud to the Lord, that you know that you are clothed in strength. Okay. All right. Let's end in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you so much for this amazing platform that we can just come to you every single week and gather with you, Lord. Honestly, I am just so thankful as I slip and I fail and I trip every single week, that I know that I am clothed with your strength. That no matter through all things, Lord, you, as I say out loud to you this week, and I reveal my insecurities, Lord, that you will take them, because I'm going to say them out loud. I'm going to share them, Lord. And I'm going to share your love and the power within your word and your cloth around me. Lord, I pray that I know every single person on this call is going through a season in their life. We're all going through a season of change, Lord. And I would pray that you will just rest on their soul to look for the positive in this season and to share that out loud. Share that with your glory and give you glory within this season, Lord. Hand over all things to you, the good, the bad, that they will just say out loud what they are grateful for. In your precious name, amen. All right, you guys, go speak amazing to yourself today and just make today all about the Lord. You know what I mean? I think like yesterday I had a day. We all have a day, right? We're allowed to have a day, but then you got to get those pants, big girl pants on and do it again. And just hand it to him. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for sharing. I love when you guys share. It really, really lets me know I'm not alone. So you guys have a blessed day. Bye, everybody.